All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition, another chapter of It's iBug's Life, where every fourth Thursday of the month we come to you with ideas and tips and tricks and stuff you can do independently, safely, whether no matter the level of your vision. Today we have a pretty good topic for you this week, which we will get to that later. But what we'd like to do first, before we get started, I'm going to go over to the iBug guy for some brief announcements of things that's coming up with iBug. Michael.
All right. Thanks, George. Yeah, we've got some things coming up in the coming week that I'd like to share with you. First, tomorrow night, Friday, we've got our regular iBug Night at the Virtual Movies, and we're showing one of the Best Picture Academy Award nominees called The Brutalist. It's a rather long movie, about 3 hours and 20 minutes. So get some rest before you come, take a nap, whatever. And that starts at 7:15 Central for the pre-movie social. The movie will start around 8. Once the movie's over, we have discussion and some trivia. Then Saturday night, we have iBug Unplugged. And our topic this week or this month is getting relaxation and stress reduction through meditation. So we'll look at some TM and how that could benefit you. And leading that will be Helene Aptekar, host of that. Then Monday's our regular iBug Buzz. Sorry about that. And that starts at 7 p.m. Okay. That's our open Q&A help session for those using iOS type devices, iPhones, iPads, Apple Watch, Apple TV, HomePods, etc. If you have questions about the operating system, app, accessories that connect to the iOS devices, you can bring your questions there and get them answered. Then Tuesday we have iBug Not Buzz on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Thursday will be our first Thursday of the month, so we've got Trekkie Talk. And we're watching Voyager Season 1. I'm not sure which episode. We're pre-watch them, and then they'll come together and discuss those. Jody's on the line, so she'll probably share with us what episodes those are. And so that gets us through the next week. So I'm going to hand it back to George to continue on with the meeting.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Let me roll back over here. Some exciting things coming up. So, as also customary, or just a little housekeeping rules we're going to do before we get into the introductions, is that if at any time that you want to make a comment or ask a question, we're going to ask that you come off mute during the time when the presentation starts and announce your name and wait to be recognized before you start talking. Or before you make your comment or question. Also, if you happen to have background noise and you forget to go on mute, we're going to ask you to do go on mute, or to eliminate all that, put yourself in a quiet place so that these productions are live. We want to make sure they're good and polished and not a whole lot of distractions. So if you got some background noise like a TV or radio, kids playing around, the Liberty commercials with the baby giggling in the background. Just make sure you put yourself on mute by using Command Shift A to toggle mute and unmute. Alt A if you are on a regular Windows computer to toggle mute and unmute. And if you're on the smartphone, look for that mute and unmute button. All right. So now what I want everybody to do right now is to come off mute. We want to know who's all here, who's all joining us tonight. So when you come off mute, we want you to say your name the city and state that you are calling from, and I would like to know if you are or not intimidated by heat. We keep it simple like that. Say your name, city and state you're calling from, and can you handle the fire? Are you intimidated by heat, or heat doesn't bother you too much? So, my name is George Battiste. I'm in Houston, Texas. And I am somebody, no, especially if I'm controlling it, I'm not that intimidated by heat.
And George, you'll have to unmute yourself again. Everybody should be able to unmute themselves now.
This is Pete.
So who's next? Come off mute, unmute yourself.
Pete.
Go ahead.
This is Pete. Hey, George. Pete in Jacksonville, Florida. No, heat doesn't intimidate me at all.
Gotcha. Okay, welcome, Pete.
I'm Miranda. I'm in San Marcos, California, San Diego County, and the hotter the better.
Okay, welcome. San Marcos, California. Never heard of that.
Yep, it's in San Diego County.
Okay, who's next?
All in Columbus, Ohio, and heat doesn't bother me.
Good. Heat doesn't bother. Now, I'm not talking about the heat from the sun. I'm just talking about heat that if you're around if you're cooking, if you are on the grill or something like that, that kind of the controlled heat or uncontrolled. All right, who's next? Name, city, state you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm from Southern California. No, I'm not intimidated by heat.
Awesome. Good to know.
Jake from Michigan. I'm not intimidated by heat.
Awesome. All right, who's next?
Jody in New Hampshire, and I'm not intimidated by heat at all. And we're going to be talking about Voyager Season 1, Episodes 10 and 11. Well, Michael asked, so I'll look it up.
Thanks, Jody.
All right, who's next? Introduce yourselves. Come off mute. Tell me your name and the city and state that you are calling.
This is Ursula Odom. I'm in Victoria, Texas. Not intimidated by heat, but I am intimidated by an uncontrollable fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncontrollable fire. So a controllable fire, you're not.
No, I'm not. No, but if I know that if there's fire, things like I it just seems, you can hear the blaze and all that.
Gotcha.
I'm just like, oh my God, so yeah. So I'm going to be interested to hear what type tips and tricks and safety and all that kind of stuff that we could do in the case of something like that happening.
Gotcha. Okay. Welcome, Ursula. All right. Who's next?
This is Ned from Kyle, Texas. No.
Okay, Ned. You said Kyle, Texas?
Yeah. Just south of Austin.
I remember, was it last year that they tried to get a whole bunch of Kyles to come to Kyle, Texas? They wanted to break the record with everybody with the same first name. And I think they chose that. I don't think they broke the record, though. They're trying to set a Guinness book. I don't know why.
That is correct. They tried it twice since 2019. They've not met the record.
Okay. All right. Welcome. Okay. Next. So, come off mute. Say the city and state you're calling from. Let us know who you're here. And if you are not intimidated by heat.
Janice, Maryland. I think I'm intimidated by heat.
Okay. Yeah, you said Janice?
Yeah.
Janice from Maryland. Okay. All right, who's next? So somebody else who's trying to race you to the mic, so now it's your turn. Whoever the other person was.
This is Kathy. I'm from Vancouver, but no state, so Canada, I guess. And I'm not intimidated by the stove or the oven or anything. And well, I don't think I'd like barbecue much. I don't use that, but anyway, that's where I'm landed.
Okay. All right. Welcome. Thank you. Anybody else?
Gloria from Houston. Not intimidated by the heat.
All right. So you play with fireworks. You light a firecracker or a bottle rocket? Shoot a cannon?
No.
Okay. All right. Welcome, Gloria. All right. Who's that? Who next? Who wants to introduce yourself? Don't be shy. We all friends here.
Michael in Texas, and I'm intimidated by a hot woman.
Okay. Okay. That's there's some validity to that. We probably all are. And I'm gonna leave it right there. Anybody else? We got some shy eye buggers tonight. All right, so I'll tell you what we're going to do is we'll kind of go ahead and get started. And there'll be other opportunities. As folks come in, we'll let them know they can come off and we can say the name, especially if somebody comes with a question, then I probably will have them to introduce themselves and probably pose the icebreaker question. But there's like about 19 people here, and I think only 9 of us only introduce ourselves. So some of you probably just a little shy. I get it. All right. The first. Here we go. Anybody dancing?
Yeah.
I heard some hand clapping.
Dancing in my seat.
That was perfect. Definitely appropriate. All right. This week, well, not this week, this month, last month, if any guys were here, we did a live presentation of an accessible grill, a grill that you can use to control using your smart device. You can control the heat, you can make it hotter, you can make it cool if you want to. And so I thought, after we did that presentation, even while we was doing it, with the few complications and the few technology hangups that we had, we noticed that for some inexplicable reason, the grill got a little bit too hot. As a matter of fact, the guest speaker that I had helped me do the presentation, some kind of way, it told him that the temperature was 999 degrees. We definitely didn't want it that hot because all we was doing was grilling some chicken and some burgers. And so he basically had to not only restart his phone or restart the app and get the fire to kind of calm down, which he was able to bring it down. One of the key things, and pretty much that's what kind of sparked me, because I did not have a particular topic of what we were going to be discussing this month, but since that happened, I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about fire safety, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Though my guest speakers are not here yet, but I'm sure they're going to be chiming in. We have invited folks who are in the profession of fighting fire. No, I wasn't able to get a hold of the people who come on that Wednesday night show on NBC called Chicago Fire. But, they were too busy, filming. So I couldn't able to get a hold of them. But I did invite, through the help of a couple of people when I posed the question, anybody knowing the firefighters, I was able to find some in the Victoria area through the help of Ursula, who's here. And then also, a member of the church I go to, this gentleman told me his son was a firefighter. So I sent him the link, and hopefully he's actually on duty. So he may be on a call, he may be doing something, but he said if time permits, he'll drop in and probably field some questions from those of us. I actually wanted him to come on and really discuss the operation of a fire extinguisher. I knew a little bit about it, but I'd rather get somebody who really can describe the ins and outs and how you can properly do it. When we get to that part of the presentation, so we're going to cover that. But something happened during last month's presentation, as I indicated, how the grill got too hot and we had to do what we need to do, or at least the guest speaker did what he had to do to get it, to repair the uncontrollable blaze that we had. Not a blaze, but, the grill just got hotter than we had anticipated to be. And that particular grill is really a control place, because the way it's built and the way it's designed, it'll be very difficult to be in real big danger, because it's in a very kind of like cast iron container. It's big, and again, you're able to control how hot you want the temperature to be. It's even safe to even light it. You don't have to use lighter fluid, like if you're doing charcoal grill, where you may put some lighter fluid in your charcoal to get your blaze going. But what I'm leading up to is when the grill had gotten too hot and it was over 900 degrees, the one key thing that helped us to really rectify the problem that had happened is we didn't panic, and he didn't panic, for one thing. And when if you happen to be in a fire situation, one thing that I would like to suggest and make it a common practice of is to try not to panic. Because when you panic, then it's hard to think straight. It's hard to realize, even though you got all your plans in place, you know what you're going to do. But if you panic just make you just forget everything that you have prepared for. So that's one thing. Now, how could I not panic? I'm glad you guys asked that question. Well, the one thing to do to keep you from panicking is to have a plan in place and always be cognitive of that plan should wherever you are located at, that if a fire breaks out, you will know exactly what to do. Because if you go over something in your mind where it can get buried in your subconscious, and at the time you need to tap into those memory banks, not saying that you guys are a piece of technology, it will be instant. It's almost like reflexes that you would know exactly what to do as long as you be mindful. Whatever strategy you're going to do should a fire happen to break out wherever you are. And that's including if you are at home, if you are in a public place, if you are in a place of employment, or a place if you're at a recreational place. Always have like a plan in place to say what you would do if a fire breaks out. Now, I know some of us work at various different places and buildings, and every once in a while, a fire drill will take place, meaning it's a way of preparing what you would do. There'll be some instructions that companies will go over that if an emergency happens, such as a fire, you know exactly what to do. You have designated exits to exit as closest to you, or designated areas to go to once you have exited the facility. It's always an orderly fashion way, and they do it in a way that enough time that, for one thing, it's good to do it unannounced, because if you do it announced, then it won't be much of a way of preparedness, because if they tell you when it's going to happen, then you're eliminating the idea of you being prepared, because when fires do break out, it's one of those things that happen, especially if it's this unexpected fire that, is not something that was planned. Maybe an incident happened and maybe an accident happened. So to keep you from panicking, it'd be my suggestion is have your plan in place. I'm going to give you a couple of things that you can do to help you to stay calm, to help you to stay relaxed, to help you to prevent you from panicking. And again, of course, as you guys have been a part of my presentations before, if you have a comment or a question you want to acknowledge or contribute to the conversations, remember you can come off mute, say your name, and then wait to be recognized, and then I'll call upon you for you to share your comment or question. Now, in your home, we all know where we live at. What if we live in an apartment? What if we live in a trailer? Where if we live in a house? One thing you want to be very familiar, which we probably all are, is to know where all of your exits are. Meaning all of your doors, all of your windows. If you are in a one-story facility, then windows could be probably one of your escape routes should a fire break out at some part of the house. So know where those are. If you happen to have some special security system or burglar bars, whatever it is, know how to open them up should you have to use the window to escape out of. I will even go to the point of even practicing exiting your window if you need to. Make sure your window can be open wide enough that you can fit through it to climb out of it if you need to. Measure how high up your window sill is from the ground, so that way you would know how to brace yourself if you have to jump out of the window. Your window could be one of those where it's probably about, 5 or 6 feet, the window sill that you have to climb over, maybe from off the ground. Maybe you got a low window, maybe only a couple of feet. However it is, I would like to suggest that you practice seeing if you're able to fit through that window. Now, if you get in a point that you cannot fit through that window, like if your window is one of these windows that opens outward instead of pushing the window up, then that may be kind of challenging because that window may not be that wide enough that you can fit through. Probably only enough for a child to fit through. If your window happens to have screens by them, the screens are the ones to prevent insects from flying in that we definitely need here in the Gulf South in Houston, because it depends on whichever season you're in, whether it's spring or summer, and whatever time of evening it is, we have these insects or these creepy crawly things like mosquitoes that love to come in and bite us. So this is why we have screens. However, if you happen to do have a screen, do a practice and know how to remove that screen. Some screens are on the inside of the window where you have these things you can turn that holds the screen in place, and you can remove that. So make sure that you have a way, have the technique, know the skill how to remove that screen if you do have one. If you do not have one, then that's something that you do not have to worry about. If you have one of those windows that push up, that you have to raise up high enough, that screen may be a little bit different. So you may have to probably either kick that screen out rather than the ones that where the screen is on the inside of the window that you can twist the little things that hold the screen in place for you to be able to answer that. So now, if you happen to have more than one exit to your home or apartment, then again, just get very familiar with the exit. I know we probably all use the front door, but if you never need to use the back door, the side door, just have in your mind that wherever room you are in a house, know exactly where you need to go to, so you don't have to wondering where you need to go to exit a place should a fire break out in a room that you are not in. I would even go and say that if you happen to be in a room and a fire breaks out, and you're in that room and you need to go out the window, if you need to break that window, remember the first thing you want to do is safety first. You want to get away from that fire. And I'm checking to see if my firefighters have joined and not sure. But have a way that you want to escape, get out of there. If you are in a car, I wasn't prepared to give information on when it comes to if a car was to catch on fire, the best way to get out. Of course, my thing is I'm going to immediately take off that seatbelt and do my best to get out of the car if it happens to catch on fire. But I've never been in a car fire, and let me apologize to everybody that's tuning into this presentation since that thought just popped in my mind. I didn't go and research the proper way that if you happen to be in a car and if the car catches on fire or if any kind of vehicle, what is the best way to exit a vehicle? There is a textbook way of getting out of a vehicle if part of the car is on fire. Besides breaking a window or getting out of the window, just open the door and just get out and get as far away from the car as quickly as possible. And then call 911 to get someone to come and distinguish it.
Excuse me, George?
Yes.
Michael, do you know your guest speaker, are they calling in on a phone or?
Yeah, he's going to be calling on the phone. His phone number ends in, what did I say, 293? Let me look real quick. I know it ends in 93, the one that invited us here. Ursula, the guys who you invited, do you know how they're going to be calling in? Ursula had also invited a couple of people as well who are firefighters.
Well, I'm checking with them right now to see if I think that Mr. Harden was gonna call, but let me check with them right now, and then Mr. Eric, I know that he's working right now, but he said if he had a break, so I'm texting him right now. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, I was just checking. Yeah, there's a couple of phone numbers here, and
any of them in 93?
No, 93s. No.
Okay. Because I did send him a text and he told me, okay, if he's got one, he'll jump in. His name is Roman Christopher.
Okay, I'll be watching for him.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm not going to talk about the car fire much because I wasn't prepared. For reason, as I'm doing this presentation, thoughts are popping in my head. I have an outline here, which that wasn't in there, but I just thought it just came into my mind about that. Oh, so bottom line is, have a plan in place so that it will prevent you from panicking what I do next. Now, of course, we want to be mindful, especially if we are not alone in our place where we are. Make sure you have a way of getting a hold of everybody that's in the house if a fire happened to break out. Like if you're in the kitchen and all of a sudden, there's an uncontrollable fire, have a plan in place to either have somebody to call 911 if you are not somebody who knows how to properly smother a fire or use a fire extinguisher. Call for help. Don't just stand there and do nothing or panic or run. Make sure you notify somebody. What if it's what if it's calling somebody, or just make them aware that there's a fire. Can somebody come help me in here? Have that plan in. Also, have good smoke detectors. Well, I'm gonna come to that too. I'm still talking about having a plan in place. Now let me go to the part about, let's say you are visiting someplace. Let's say you're in a hotel, you're on vacation. Now here's a practice that I do for myself. I think I may have discussed this on the previous is iBooks Live, but I can't recall for sure. Whenever hotel I check into, after I have found my room and I put down my bags, got familiar with the room, and before I start really doing what I'm out of town for, whether it's attending a meeting or if it's doing recreational stuff, it's a vacation, I would always try to go and locate the stair, especially if I'm on like an upper floor. And most of the time when I stay in a hotel, especially if I'm in a major city, there's a great chance I will not be on the first floor. So, and if a fire breaks out in a hotel that has multiple floors, or in an office building, or if a place of employment that has like multiple floors, and if someone pulls the smoke alarm to summon the fire department, the elevators will get turned off. So this is why it's a good practice to know where the stairs are in case you may need to use those stairs. And the reason why I would say go locate them, so that way, if an emergency takes place and it's a fire emergency, you will know in your mind, okay, I'm going to go out of my room. I need to go to the left. I need to go to the right. Count the doors. How many doors it's going to take for you to get to that stairway. Because you will have to use the stairs. So if you are in room 224 and you got to go all the way down to the end of the hall, then you got to know to count 12 doors, or just go all the way until you get to the end, and then the stairway is going to be probably to the left or to the right at the end, or the stairway may be near the elevator bank. But the bottom line is, my suggestion that when you are on vacation at a hotel, even if you're on a cruise ship, whatever the case may be, locate the stairs. Know where the stairs are, because you will not be able to use the elevators. Okay? Everybody understand that? Anybody disagree with that? Does anybody practice that? Does anybody do that? If you don't, I would strongly encourage that you do. Go, when you're staying in a hotel, make sure you know where the stairs are. If you are not as adventurous as I am, and you want someone to show you where the stairs are, you can ask at the hotel. They always willing to help. Most of the time when you check into the front desk and see that you have a visually impairment, 9 times out of 10, they're going to ask, do you need anything else? Do you need assistance with anything? Get into your room, whatever. You can even ask them, after they have showed you to your room, can you show me where the stairs are? Okay. So once you have located that, then that way you can be familiar. And this would also, I think, would contribute to that you not panicking when you need to escape out of the building. And I would even take into practice, go down those stairs, go up those stairs, so you know how many stairs in each flight of stairs. And when you get to the bottom, if it's exiting either to the first floor into the lobby, or it may exit on the outside. And this is a way to help you to get orientated to the place that you are located at, to prevent you from, all this is contributing to that you're not panicking if a fire happened to break out. Okay. So when we had that grill get over to 999 degrees, the way it helped us to be able to control to get this thing to come down. We didn't panic. We didn't try to probably throw some water on it, which is the worst thing that you can do to get the fire to calm down. No panicking. All right. Okay. So we want to not panic. We want to make sure that if we're in a foreign place, if we reside in some place, we want to locate the stair. Now, also in your home, it's a good practice to also make sure that all of your smoke detectors have good battery. If your smoke detector, you know how most of them, you hear just like beep that occurs like every 2 or 3 minutes, it means the battery is running low. It would be advisable to don't ignore that. First of all, locate your smoke detectors. Most smoke detectors are going to be either in the ceiling of the room they have one in, or it's going to be high up on the wall, flat up against the wall. Now, to locate those, if you are in a position to where no one is there to help you to find that, and usually all the presentations that I do, I do it in a way, I present in a way that if someone who has good vision is not there, you will be able to take advantage of all these tips that I go over anyway. So to locate your smoke detectors, I would say get like a long stick. It could be a broom handle, a mop handle, or even your cane if you have one. And again, they're all going to be in the ceiling somewhere near the corner as well. Then for every place that I've stayed in, they normally are, as I indicated before, on the wall, up kind of high near the corner, and maybe about maybe 2 or 3 inches from, like, if your wall meets the ceiling, it's not going to be right in where the meeting takes place. It's going to be like maybe 2 or 3 inches from where wall meets ceiling. And you can, if it's too high up, like I say, take your cane, take some kind of long stick, and lightly, don't try to rub the paint off. You don't want to go too hard, but the objective, you want to locate that smoke detector. And if it's chirping and beeping, let you know that the battery's running low. It's a good practice to upgrade those batteries. One thing, at least to me, that chirping is really annoying to me. Just hearing the constant side, that's a noise I have to get rid of. But it's also, it's protecting me as well. That's the reason why I will not have that thing just keep chirping and chirping and chirping. And I bring it up because say it again. Somebody on the floor, or they came off mute by accident. Anyway, I do whatever I can. It's for safety purposes that you want to make sure that your smoke detectors are working properly, so that if smoke happens to occur, and maybe you're not in the room where it's at, or maybe someplace that you're not right there, that'll let you know it's alerting to it. Okay, there must be something going on while this detector is going off. Now, there are some things that can trigger a smoke detector as well, such as steam would trigger it. Depends on where the steam is coming from. Sometimes, if you're cooking, if it's too high, that also would trigger that smoke detector. But you want to test it. Most smoke detectors, I don't have any brand names to recommend, but most of them are either round or square. There's going to be a button that you can press and hold it for like maybe a second or two, and it should beep real loud. You don't have to hold it forever. As soon as it stops beeping, let it go, then it will stop, because that beeping is quite piercing and it could cause some damaging to your hearing. So that noise right there, that's the noise. I don't know whoever did that. That was a great sound effect. I thank you for that contribution. But that's the noise you usually hear, which means your batteries are running low. And it will go off, like I say, every few seconds. But also, if you're testing your smoke detector, you can press that and hold it down, and it'll beep, and it'll let you know your smoke detector is working well. And change the batteries. Most smoke detectors take 9-volt batteries. Some take AA batteries. Depends on which kind that you do have. Now, if you can't reach them, again, don't ignore that beeping that we just heard. You get up there and change it. If you live in an apartment, call your leasing office. They can have somebody to come and change it. If you have somebody, noise like that. That's what most smoke detectors say. As a matter of fact, mine make that exact same noise. But you definitely want to keep up the batteries on that. And then also, if you are cooking, that's a good way to let you know that maybe your fire is too high. And so, because if it's too much steam or smoke coming in the air, that will trigger your smoke detector. You may want to turn your burner down if you are doing any type of cooking. Maybe something has gotten too close to the burner. So this is a good way of practicing safety when it comes to fire prevention. Get yourself also some carbon, what are those things called? Carbon monoxide detectors as well. Carbon monoxide is one of those gases that you really can't smell it. So it's good to have one of those detectors as well. That thought just came in my head, just something else I didn't prepare for too. But we had a very famous actor who passed away today. Everybody know Gene Hackman, who was very good. And he's played in a movie called Mississippi Burning. He was in The Unforgiven. He was in Enemy of the State. He played Hoosiers, played a basketball coach. Well, he unfortunately passed away today at the age of 95. And as people who have gone into his home, I think someone did like a wellness check and called 911. That's how they found him. They found him passed away, as well as his wife and one of his dogs passed away. But they say they think it was due to carbon monoxide poisoning. So now I don't know if he had a carbon monoxide detector in his home to hear it, but they also, I think, have a beep just like these smoke alarms do. So it may be good to invest in one of those, especially during the wintertime where, we're using gas burners or gas fireplaces where sometimes, when you turn on your heat, if it hasn't burned in a while, carbon monoxide will happen to burn, and you don't want to inhale that because that can be deadly even while you're sleeping. You could, will not happen what happened, unfortunately, to Gene Hackman today. So invest in one of those as well. Okay, thank you. I think that's the carbon monoxide detector. It beeps a little faster. Everything is a high pitch. I probably should have done the research as to why they picked that high pitch. I guess that's a tone that would trigger your subconscious should you be in a deep state to become awake. All right. Now, I would also like to recommend too that if another way to keep from panicking and stay in full control of the dangerous situation that comes into place, make sure that your kitchen or wherever you are has a fire extinguisher, whether if it's on the wall, whether if it's mounted in a cabinet someplace, and go to either a firehouse and get trained on how to properly use your fire extinguisher. I do have my video on in case, when we post this on iBug's YouTube channel. I'm holding mine up right now. It's in my left hand. It's just a basic small one, just in the kitchen. I do not know the brand name because it was here when I got here and I failed to ask. And you know what? I might need to have them to service this one because I'm looking at the bottom. Usually there's a number to let you know the last time this thing was checked. And I see a 10 on here, which making me wondering. I'm wondering if this thing has not been tested in 2010. It just appeared to me when I look at that. But I have just a basic, simple, small. Sorry, my phone is talking. Let me shut it up. It has. If you ever touched a fire extinguisher before, as I'm holding right now, this one is about. If I had to guess, let's see here, I'm gonna stand it up on the count here. It's probably about maybe a foot or 18 inches in height. It has, turn it around. It has a plus handle that if I need to lift it up, this will help me to pull with a round ring that your finger or your thumb can fit through. It's here. This ring is usually like on the side. Mine is on top. This fire extinguisher. And that's the part that I will pull out. And then there's a part back here that I will squeeze. And if I need to aim at a fire, it has like a little round hole. I'm not going to say like a gun because the barrel is not that long. But this is where the stuff that's inside this fire extinguisher will come out. The CO2, that's what that's what they call that steam fluid. It will make that kind of noise. Depends on what kind you have. Some may have a deeper sound than that. Depends on the size of the fire extinguisher. This one is actually real smooth. So I'm glad I'm doing this presentation. I picked up my fire extinguisher because I am going to go to my leasing office as soon as tomorrow. Ask them when the last time they tested this fire extinguisher, and I probably need a new one because I'm thinking this thing is like 15 years old, and that's not good. So I'll put that back on. But they're pretty much simple to operate. Again, when you pull the ring out, then it should be like a lever that you will squeeze, and you want to aim that at if a fire happen to break out. That's kind of, that's the big one. That's the one that you may have seen on TV show. Like if anybody watches Chicago Fire, like I do faithfully every Wednesday, that's the kind you would hear if they're putting out like a fire, and it could be a small one, but those guys are trained; they can easily put those things out quickly. And you just got to aim into it. Have any? Let me do a quick check right now. Have any of my firefighters joined yet? Mr. Roman, Christopher, have you joined yet? If you are, please come off mute and introduce yourself. Or those who are in Victoria, if you know how to come off mute. If you dialed in, you may have to hit *6 on your phone. If you are on the smartphone, just find your unmute button and tap unmute. Because I see that we have 23 people here now. Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm picking up the wrong phone. Yeah, 23. So I know we have at least 2 or 3 people who have joined since we started the call. But yeah, I would advise, if you can go to most of your firehouses, they're pretty friendly. They're pretty user friendly. They usually, that's a kid that you cannot walk in there and just ask, I want you really want to learn how to operate my fire extinguisher. And I think they will show you. They may even have some there on staff and where you can get practice because, it's a good thing to have in your safety repertoire as a tool that, sometimes things happen, please, especially if you're cooking on the stove or if you're during the holiday times popping fireworks or if you're grilling and, the fire may blaze up. This is another way that if you have with confidence how to operate a fire extinguisher, this will help you from panicking because you have the skill for it. And once you know something and you practice it enough, then you know how to take it off of the wall if it's mounted. So that way you can be able to put that fire out without any problem at all. Okay, so that's definitely, I would like to suggest that everybody learn how to operate that. I will strongly also encourage everybody to learn how to operate those. I know a lot of us have family members, we have children, we have spouses, and when something break out, we put, what I've been thinking about it, we're going to call on one of our family members to come take care of something if an emergency happens. Well, I'd like to encourage you to learn it yourself in the event that that particular family member that you are good at relying upon is not available. You will be able to do it. You don't have to worry about, oh man, what am I going to do next? My wife is not here. My husband is not here. My child is not here. I can't get to the phone. I'm having trouble because I'm nervous and I'm trying to dial on my phone 911. I'm trying to say, hey, Siri, call 911 and she's not listening, or I'm talking to my smart device. Anything can happen. But if you know how to develop that skill on your own, this also will help contribute to you not panicking. Probably going to hear me say not panicking a lot during this presentation. Because if you don't panic, it really helps you to be focused, help you to know exactly what to do should an emergency breaks out. Okay? Anybody have any questions or comments so far for anything that I've said thus far? Okay. 1 second. My note taker just died, so I'm trying to plug it up so I can continue with it. Okay, so here's some things you can do to prevent fires from blazing too unexpectedly. Let's say you are cooking and there's some things that you can do to make sure as a way from a fire sparking up. For one thing, if you're cooking, don't have any kind of paper or flaming things that can easily ignite that may start a fire. For example, sometimes we may want to have a paper towel nearby if we are frying something so the grease can drain out. Well, you want to make sure that you don't have that too close to the surface that you are cooking on because, a fire could catch that paper towel could also become ignited. You want to make sure that doesn't happen. That's one thing to prevent that. Now, if a fire was to happen to break out unexpectedly, because even me, I'm I am one of those. I forgot to. I think when I introduced myself, announce that I am not intimidated by heat, especially if I'm the one controlling it. I think I was. I can't remember what I was frying one time. This happened about way some 20 years ago. Might have was cooking breakfast for my children. I'm not sure. But I had a plate with a paper towel on it, and I think as I was taking the bacon out or whatever that I was frying at the time, some kind of way that paper was hanging over the plate, and uh, it got lit up, it got ignited, it got too close to burn, and it was on fire. And this also happened, I think, when I was living in an apartment too, when I didn't have children at the time. But anyway, it caught on fire. Now I could smell the smoke. You can smell when paper is burning, but because I try to remain calm. I'm very orientated to my kitchen and where things are. When I noticed that paper towel was on fire, the first thing I did was I went right to the kitchen sink and I just, whatever was on that plate, I just threw it into the sink, ran water on it, and then put it out kind of quick. Now, this was not a big fire, so me running, the tap water on it helped extinguish that fire. There are going to come a time where you may have to smother the fire. Take like a blanket or a pillow or something and really pounce on it to get the fire out and keep stepping on it until the fire is extinguished. Or something like that. By me knowing that when my stove and the kitchen sink was to the right of the stove, I know how far I needed to walk. I just walked kind of quickly to that and dropped it into the sink and the fire was out. I say that because I think I had a roommate staying with me at the time, and he says he noticed that I didn't panic. I just immediately took action to what I needed to do because that unfortunately paper towel caught on fire. But it was a lesson that I learned, not the hard way, but just something that I know that for that not happening again, if I'm taking something out of here, because I think I had the plate in my left hand, and then I think I was using my right hand to get out what I was trying to get out of the plate. And so that's how I think that thing got too close to the paper towel that it ignited. But so be very orientated the way you are in your kitchen, that if something happens to catch on fire, or don't even have anything that would be flammable near if you're cooking, especially if you got a gas. Don't have nothing near that. No grease, something that can easily ignite. And if it does happen, know what you need to do to put the fire out. If you need to hurry up and grab your fire extinguisher or get like a big towel or some big piece of cloth to help smother it, do whatever you need to do to keep it from blazing any further. So if you're cooking, just be prepared. Know what's around your stove, that nothing won't catch all in anything.
George?
Yes.
This is Pete. You mentioned a blanket or something. I see these ads sometimes on Facebook, so I wonder if they're legit. For fire blankets, keep a fire blanket in your closet, use it for a stove or, electrical fire on your stove top or grease fire. And I think they're intended to smother the fire like the blanket. Have you ever seen those ads or
I have
anything
not,
about the blankets?
I have not seen those ads. Is it like TV ads or radio ads or where they're ads?
Yeah, probably a little of everything. Mostly on Facebook, and there's of course these stories about how the fire was out of control, and I threw this blanket over, and all of a sudden it smothered it, and it's a lifesaver. And now I keep one wherever I live. That kind of thing.
You know what kind of material is made out of?
Something special, and I don't remember specific.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up because it's a worthwhile investment. You guys hear that? They got what did it call again, Pete?
It's a brand name, but it's essentially a fire blanket. It's
blanket.
A heavy blanket intended to smother fires, mostly in the kitchen.
Okay. All right. I'm definitely
it's a thought. Yeah,
that is a great thought. I will make that investment. Probably.
Well, I'm not recommending them. I'm just wondering if they're legit. They sound like they're.
Okay, I definitely will look it up. I'm gonna do a research on that. And I actually will, if I get the information, I'm going to send the article to Michael and Sandia so they can probably post it on the iBug Today's page as, attached to like this presentation. But no, that's something good to look into.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Has anyone else heard of that or seen those ads of that commercial? Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Hearing crickets? I guess
This
not.
is Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I've heard those ones that he's talking about, and also I've heard of the ones now for uh, lithium battery fires that are made with heavy enough material that it can take care of those too. So this guy was recommending that if you had an electric vehicle, that you get one for the car too. So,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because now, electric vehicles are on the rise. So that's something good to do. But I'm definitely going to look up for that fire blanket. Yeah, that's great. That's why I love doing these presentations too, because even though I'm presenting, but I also am very open to learn. So that's why I always encourage you guys, if you got something to say or come up with, feel free to jump in here.
This Deb.
Yes, Dad. Welcome.
So, hi. So I've heard, oh, no, not heard. I've seen also Facebook. I think the thing that I have seen, the blanket, is called Prepared Hero or something like that. And I too wondered if that was a legitimate thing.
I think you're right, Deb. It's got a hero in the name.
That's the one that I've seen, yeah. And I too wondered if that was really legit, because it sounded like you could fold it up pretty small and like put it under your sink or whatever. It sounds pretty handy if it's really worthwhile.
Okay, we got an iPhone that has raised their hand. I want to let you know, I'm totally blind, so I can't see it, but I want to let you know, just come off mute. You don't have to raise your hand if you got a question or comment. Just open your phone and say your name and what's your question or comment. There was an iPhone that had a raised hands. I don't know what the number is. If you own an iPhone and you raise your hand, you're welcome to speak. If you know
George, this is Janet.
Go ahead, Janet.
Yeah, I've heard of what Pete's talking about. I don't remember the brand name. You know how all these networks have like deals or these, they promote different products, at discount prices. And I think it's been on one of those, steals and deals or something.
Okay.
The fire blankets. Mm-hmm.
If anybody got their computer nearby or their smart lady, stay on mute and ask about these hero blankets or fire blankets and come off you and tell us the information about it on your A-rated device or your Google Play person or if you're on your computer, because I really want to know that information now. My computer is not out. It is taking like probably 10 minutes. Go ahead, Mike.
This is Pete again. I just checked Amazon.
I'm sorry, Pete.
I just searched on Amazon for Prepared Hero, and that's the brand name of a blanket. It's an Amazon recommended item. You get a pack of 4 for $59 and some change, $60, and they're a special fiberglass material. They come in 5 different sizes, but they got 4.8 stars on Amazon. It's called Prepared Hero. So looks like it might be legit if customer reviews mean anything. 4.8 out of 5 stars is pretty good. So it's called Prepared Hero.
Prepared Hero for $59. Okay.
Yeah, a pack of 4.
Does it give like the measurements? How long? How length it is?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
I'll do some searching.
Okay. Great. So you guys prepared?
George, this is Ursula.
Good, Ursula.
So I have our speaker on the line. And he's prepared to do whatever you'd like to do, but it's going to be over my phone. Is that okay?
Well, let's test it out, see if we can hear him.
Mr. and Mrs. Harden?
Yeah. Okay. I can hear. It's kind of echoey. You got 2 devices on?
Yeah, let me undo my other phone. I always have problems with that other phone. Okay. So how try it now, Mrs. Harden, Mr. and Mrs. Harden?
Yeah. Okay, good. Ask him. Can he hear
They can hear you. They can hear you.
Okay. Well, welcome. I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Want to kind of introduce yourself, say hey to the group. We got people calling in from all over the country. And how many years were you a firefighter?
About 30 years.
About 30 years?
34 years.
Okay, about 34 years. How long has it been since you stopped?
I think 98.
Oh, okay. So that's about 36 years ago? No, not 36.
He retired in 1998?
Yeah, so about a little over 25 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So look, we was talking a bit about operating a fire extinguisher. Can you kind to give some tips on, for one thing, are they difficult to operate? And I had said we could probably go to a firehouse and people would be willing to train you how to use it. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is. Most companies will help you do that. Even have programs like school. So, but they will help. Yeah, with fire. Yeah. Want to pin on fire about 10 12 rate and just back up and spray on there and back up and
Okay, so
when you're aiming towards the bottom of the, not up in the air, but towards the, like if something's on fire, the house is on fire or something. If it's the top of the stove, then you can, hit it that way. But if it's better if it's a full fire, then aim it towards the bottom part of the fire.
okay,
Another,
but you
don't just the middle of the flame or the upper part of the flame towards the ceiling. You want to hit it at the base of
at
the
the
fire.
base of the fire. So, like if you're outside on the ground, shoot at the base of the fire, the bottom part. And you say if a fire happened to break out on your stove, you can just spray on top of the stove.
Well, it depends. Yeah, you want to do that on
Right,
on
right.
but if it's a fire that's in your kitchen or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you're coming in, you hold on, pin on the fire extinguisher 10 or 12 feet away and back up and yeah.
Okay, so if I understand you right, it says after you pull the pin out, which is that little ring that I had described earlier on the fire extinguisher that I have here in my apartment, you stand about 10 to 12 feet away, and then that's when you will spray where the fire is at. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. And try to find the base of the fire.
Base of the fire. Which is easier, because we were discussing too that someone had found an ad on social media like Facebook as well as on Amazon. They got a thing called a hero blanket, which is something that says good for smothering fire. Are those just as effective as a fire extinguisher? Or have you heard of that, for one thing?
Yeah. He hasn't he didn't use that. He hasn't
Okay.
used that.
Okay.
But with any grease fire or stove, top of the fire like that,
Mm-hmm.
usually the grease fires you don't want to spray, but you want to smother them. So if it's a frying pan, the fire is out in the frying pan, lid on it, cover it with a lid or one of those fire blankets. I assume would help. I don't know. We have one.
Okay. So you can just smother those if it's a grease fire on top of the stove. You don't need to use the actual extinguisher.
Like if it's a fire, you want to get the lid on it or something on it. You don't want to put water on it because that will just cause it to spread.
Make it blaze more.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you could do is put spray water on a grease fire, like got a bunch of grease in a frying pan, and you spray it with water. Then it's going to push that grease fire all over the place.
Gotcha.
All over the stove. Yeah.
I had used the example. I was telling him about an incident that happened with me that I was actually, this was like about 20, 30 years ago. I was cooking in the kitchen, and it's something that, how something happens, you learn your lesson one time, you never do that again. Well, this is one time I think I had a plate in one hand with a paper towel in the plate because I think I was frying something. We use paper towel to help drain the grease of whatever we're frying on. And some kind of way the paper towel got too close to the burner and it caught fire. And by me being extremely orientated to my kitchen, since I could smell the paper burning, I just happened to have a sink full of water. I think I was going to wash dishes. I just dropped it in there and it put it out because it wasn't that big.
Yeah, whatever works like that. Yeah, and like grease fire, if you get a frying pan full of bacon and you forget and it catches flame, just get a lid or something, metal or what have you.
To smother it.
Yeah, but don't put water on it. So water splash and then just spread it.
Exactly. That's a good point. That's a good point. Don't let water be the first thing you go to put out a fire.
This is Innie.
Go ahead, Annie.
I just want to make a quick comment about over the stove when you have a grease fire. In fact, I have them out leaning against my refrigerator just for that purpose. A cookie sheet, right? Oh, you know, when you're saying about smothering fire, if anything catches on fire on top of the stove, just put smother it. If you have a cookie sheet, you just put it on top and it will put it right out.
Yeah, it will. That's a good one. Yeah.
Because it's large.
Yeah. Anything to smother it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I was gonna say something about there is a product, I don't know if you guys know about it or it's called Distinguish. It comes in a spray can, and I had it for green and for anything to spray. It's made for a kitchen.
I haven't experienced. For what now? Yeah, I putting something on that smothers the fire the best.
Okay.
Back away and ready go out.
Okay. Now, one thing I have pointed out too, and you guys can see if you agree with this too. One thing I was advising everybody to always have like a plan in place in case of a fire was to break out to keep you from panicking. Because one of the worst things you want to do is panic. Do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Let me share with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Went to a restaurant bar in I have not wanted to go back there again because I did not second exit for a time. Know where you came in at, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there was like we sat down towards the when they had this little stage up there, and I did not see another exit. And you always want to find your way out, like in a theater or wherever you're at. No, a second way out.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Have like. That's the one thing I've told them too. I said that if you're in a place, whether it's a hotel or like you mentioned a restaurant, know where all of your exits are, and if you're on the upper floor, know where the stairways are because they're going to turn off elevators. And so long as you know exactly where they are, find those first, then you know something break out, you know exactly where to go, and you probably will be ahead of everybody because a lot of people don't think to do that.
Hi, can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. I was having a hard time getting in. Well, I was having to. I didn't prepare ahead of time, so excuse,
okay.
That's on me. I'm Debbie Valenzuela, and I was listening to the beginning of it. I was the unknown anonymous user, and so, can y'all see my name now? I'm not sure if it shows up. Okay.
Hi there, Debbie.
Hi, hey Ursula. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, ma'am.
George, I wanted to say two things. I don't know if it's been mentioned, but are there fire alarms that come with both, right? The carbon monoxide detector and fire alarm. Two
yes,
in one.
we did discuss that briefly. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe if I can find them, I'll share a link later. And also, with candles. I used to do a lot of candles, and I now use those little LED light ones. They're so neat. And I still have a little bit of, just tiny bit of pinhole vision if I turn, you know, all the lights are off, which is most of the time for me, but, I can see those. And as far as like the scent that you miss from candles, I get those little those little stick weed diffusers, oil. I don't miss that. That was kind of hard. is for me at first. Or just not wanting to have them, especially, yeah. So I just wanted to share that. I have a
Okay.
lot of those.
Great, great. And you brought up a good point. That's what I want to ask Mr. and Mrs. Harding. Candles. What's a good safe place to keep them from catching fire to anything? What do you guys recommend?
It's hard.
After Bob went to so many fires with him, decided it wasn't worth it. And we can buy the little scents, and that those are fine. But
Right.
no in our house.
But in any
Duly
event,
noted.
in any event that you have those who do have candles, have a spot recommending where they should place these candles.
I was thinking a corner table. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Where he could put them.
So that it's safe, yes.
Safest place would be in a sink or a nice atmosphere part away,
Like most people have their candles, especially the scented candles. They usually in either these little glass jars, and sometimes supposed to have like in the middle of their coffee table or on their entertaining cabinet or something like that. Are the ones that are inside the little containers? Are those pretty good?
What? I had was low. It was, I used it a whole bunch, and it was way low. And that thing was so hot, the glass, and I thought, my God, no wonder I catch the pepper on top, but it happened to be a granite countertop, so it didn't catch on fire. But I was hot enough. I would that if I hadn't, if it was on, warm.
Oh, this is Ursula. I was just going to say, ultimately, I think the goal is where we have candles, or even if you have the gas lit stove, you want to make sure that there are no other articles that can catch a fire to make a fire. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's almost want to make sure that
nothing flammable.
Yeah, that if it gets hot around it, what's around that candle that's inside that glass, or what? Because I'm telling you, I'm bad about that. I need it now. Now I run my hand across the whole stove before I even turn it on, because out of sight, out of mind. We don't know if if something fell on the stove and then you didn't turn it on because you want to kind of warm the element up or something like that. So that's all those safety tips and tricks, I think, that we should practice.
One thing I would say you do not want to do is, we all love how the scented candles smell. I mean, I even like them too. My mother used to have like the ones that smell like aloe vera. Wow, it smells like a flower. But
or vanilla.
Never go to sleep without blowing those candles out.
Yes,
you don't want to have that thing burning at night because, again, you don't know what could catch on fire or what that candle might catch on. It may burn all the way down. Then you wake up and you got a blaze.
Yeah.
This is Ethel Miranda.
Go ahead, Ethel Miranda.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
A fire captain came to the blind center when I first started losing my sight, and his presentation was specifically to tell us blind people and candles do not mix. He said, go home and put them away, throw them away. And like she said, she's been to too many fires. He said, I'm tired of coming to these candles and you guys just no. And I did happen to see something, as my vision was leaving safe slowly. I happened to be in Cancun on vacation, and it was fascinating. I saw right there on a table, right by the bedside table, maybe because it's right there by the beach, but they had a big fishbowl. The hotel had a big fishbowl, and in it they filled it full of sand. And that's where they put a little candle in. he was sitting right in the middle of this big sand crucible. I thought that was interesting. I didn't do that. I did listen to the captain, and I threw away all these.
Robin's come back from four times this month. Like, well, how was your shift? And you'd say, oh, we had a fire. But not fire. But I had a candle or fell asleep or went to bed and left the candle going.
Well,
That's something I miss.
Well, it's
Not the fire.
not necessarily because you're blind. It can happen to any of us.
Absolutely.
Sighted person also, like where a lady had like a candle on the coffee table, but she had like a runner, and the cat claws snagged it. You know, when she jumped, she was playing with something on there, and when the cat jumped off, she had the material of that runner. I don't know if it was pulled or it caught or lace or what, but it caught on and pulled it. Luckily, she saw it, caught it right away, but that was, but when I miss the candles because, when I did yoga and meditation, the meditation part or the meditation and prayers, you just turn on a candle to use as a focal point and then always blow it out, when you're, instead have it on the floor. But I don't do them at all now that I have the LED. You can change the setting where it looks like it's flickering or it'll just look like a still light. And so and then my sister gave me a diffuser with oils and it changed different colors of light, you can put it to a dark purple, a light purple, or, whatever the mood is, and you've got that scent. So, it took me, so I don't miss them anymore. I do appreciate, fire, but I just don't buy them anymore. I'm with, is it Ethel Miranda? I'm with her. I don't do them anymore. If somebody gives me a candle, I've got two, and I have it on my mind to go buy one of those warmers that you plug in, and it just keeps up the wax. You don't have to light the wick. So that's another good idea.
So, a question.
I'm okay, but it just have to be done.
Right. Now, let's talk about outdoor fires. Like if somebody go camping or somebody just they burn in their outside to try to keep the mosquitoes away. What's the effective way to put that fire out? Would that be like indicated, get a fire extinguisher and shoot at the base of the fire? Or is there another technique for putting those kind of fires out?
Again, you could throw dirt on it.
Oh, dirt? Okay.
From it. And back away from it. And go out.
Okay.
We used to live up in Colorado and go camping up in the mountains and get very cold. But have a campfire. We never let one go on when went to sleep. So we always smothered them with dirt, had like a little teeny shovel that we could backpack. Dirt on it. Because even you put the dirt on it, after a while, you can still feel the heat come through that dirt.
From the embers. Okay.
I've never been camping, so that's good to know.
Yeah, fire on the beach, having a bonfire. And put it out. So much sand is coming up. But people have gotten their feet dirty walking off the track and not seeing a fire because it's covered up, But
right. Except in that hot, they got a hot foot.
Yep, they went on under the feet. Let me put it that way. Oh, yeah, but
Well, listen. Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I hear those fire pit rings are pretty good. Instead of just making your own, how people make their own fire, pit, just with bricks or logs or whatever, or whatever they make around the fire. So they sell those rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, before I let you guys go, do you agree? Because I read somewhere that say you should change the batteries in your smoke detectors every 6 months or twice a year.
we've only changed ours once a year, but that sounds like a good idea, really.
A good practice. Okay. Okay. Well, listen, I thank you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Being safer than not on something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that and the carbon monoxide, you want to change it too.
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank
I
you,
really
George.
appreciate you guys taking time to join in with us and share your experiences. I've learned a lot, and I'm glad you guys were able to.
Thank you. You all folks have a good one.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Okay. So look, everybody, that's
I'll talk to you
probably
tomorrow.
going just
Bye-bye.
about cover it. So as you go out, I guess what we can learn from this month is, I know we ended probably about 30 minutes early, but one thing is you definitely want to have a plan in place of escape if you need to. If anything you want to leave for tonight that you've learned tonight that you want to share with everybody, and what if you have vision or don't have vision, have a plan in place that if you need to escape wherever you are, whether it's your home, a public place, know what you're going to do if fire breaks out. Know where your exits are. Know where your stairs are. Practice going out of, if you're in a one-story house or building, if you need to practice, if you need to go out the window, like let's say if a fire breaks out in your living room, that's the only door, you need to go out the windows, do that. Make sure that the window is wide enough that you'll be able to fit through it if that's your escape route. Have that in place. Have like multiple plans of escape. Don't just have one. Have two. Always have an alternative backup plan when plan A doesn't work out. Go to plan B. If you're staying in a hotel, remember I indicated, learn where the stairs are. Orientate yourself on where your sleeping room is to where the stairway is in case you need to use the stairs, because they will turn up elevators if somebody pulls a fire alarm or if a major fire breaks out. You would not be able to use those stairs. If you work in some place that a building has multiple floors, yes, learn where those stairs are. I know a lot of places of employment because I've been working since 1992. And every place I've worked at, they always want to assign somebody to me that if a fire break out, they tell me, you wait there and that person's going to come and get you. No, I do not. I'm not on board with it. Again, what if that person who is assigned to you, what if they panic? What if they're not able to? So it's always good that you know where all the exits are, know where your route is, so that you don't have to wait on that person. I will tell them, I say, y'all telling me sit here and wait for the person to come and get me. That person's going to be looking for me because I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be 2 blocks away. I'm not going to sit around and wait. So that's why every building I've worked in, like I've been on the 7th floor, I've been on the 4th floor, I've worked on the 11th floor in the building before. I am not waiting for somebody to say, no. You're going to say, even when I'm on a plane, and sometimes the flight attendants, they go over the safety rules with me individually, even though they do it over the PA to the entire audience or passengers on the plane. I read the little diagram that they give to you that is tactile mark, where they can show me where the window exits are or the exits are of the plane. I even know how many rows I am from the door. So if something breaks out, because they're talking about, you sit here, we're coming to get you. No, you're not. I'm getting out of here. I'm not waiting. Fire breaking out, I'm getting as far away as I can to the bedside. If I need a break sudden, I will make a new door if I need to. My thing is safety is first. Do whatever you can to get out. Check the batteries of your smoke detectors. Press your test button. Make sure it's working or active. If you get that little annoying chirp, don't ignore it. Make sure you get fresh batteries and put it in there to shut that thing off. Helps you to sleep better too, because that thing can be very distracting.
Annoying, yeah.
Don't allow it to become the ambience of your room. And again, and if you got people in your house, make sure they are know about your strategies as well as to what we're going to do to get out of here if a fire breaks out. Oh, a firefighter's going. I wanted to ask him about if he in a fire in a car, but I forgot to ask him about that. I think they're gone. So we can do some research, and if I find it, I'll send the article to Michael and Son, and they can post it on iBug Today's website. And I think. Oh, and as I indicated too, if you guys want to invest, because I am going to probably purchase that no later than tomorrow, that hero blanket. That's a good thing to have to keep in your kitchen. In case a small fire break out, you can smother it. And also, as indicated, you can go to any firehouse. They will teach you how to operate your fire extinguisher if you're afraid of operating it yourself.
Hey, George.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt again about
That's
that blanket. It's on Amazon. It's the name of it is, as Janice said, Prepared Hero.
Prepared Hero.
Just type that into your search bar, and it's one of Amazon's recommended products. And they've got different packages. They've got a package, I think, a set of 4 blankets, and it looks like there's multiple sizes, but the only size that I see shown on the Amazon page on the app is 40 by 40 inches by 40 inches square. So that's about 3.5 feet, a little less than 3.5 feet wide square. And they're made of a fiberglass, so they say you can keep them in your kitchen. Maybe keep one in your bedroom, your garage, maybe, depending on
car.
In the car, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
They've got other sleeping bags that are similar if you're camping and things like that. So some good selection on Amazon. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thanks for bringing that. I've written it down. I definitely will be ordering. That's not too bad. That's something good to have.
Also, did anybody go over the pack for the fire extinguisher? What was it? Name and spray. Is it? What was the other S for?
We did not go over that. I know the firefighter that was on here, the retired one, he indicated that once you have moved the safety ring, he said especially if you're in house, get 10 to 12 feet from it and just spray. And if you're outside, it says spray at the base of the flag. But you say it's point, aim. What's the other?
I don't remember. Maybe it was full spray. Maybe I can't remember.
Squeeze. That sounds right.
Something like that. Well, sweep, to sweep it, and squeeze and sweep the area where the fires. I'm now listening to this. I'm definitely going to go look it up. The acronym for PASS.
Okay. Hold on. I got him. I got him. Hold on real quick. They're here. George?
Yes.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Harden. They called back. They have something very important to say.
Okay.
Mr. Harden?
Yeah, but fire and people, especially blind,
You want to get out.
You want to get the hell out of it.
I totally agree with that. That's what I was just explaining it to them too. Get out. Get away.
More important, get yourself out and call the fire department, unless it's really small, But yeah, you want it. And you have no way of knowing if you're blind. You would have no way of knowing how large the fire or how fast it's spreading. So yeah.
Right. Oh, someone was asking. There was an acronym for operating a fire extinguisher. And I don't know if you guys know. It's something about full aim, sweep, and
They're saying it's an acronym for PASS with using the fire extinguisher. Are y'all aware of that, Mr. Hutton?
Well, I'm not.
It's
But
Mike.
Yeah.
I'll have to Google it.
This is Michael. I just looked it up. Yeah, it's pull the pin, aim low, squeeze the trigger, sweep slow to side.
That's it.
Okay.
Pull and sweep.
See, squeeze,
Pull
squeeze,
and squeeze.
squeeze, and then sweep. Yeah.
And then sweep. PASS. Gotcha.
This is Ed.
Go ahead, Ed.
About standing 10 to 12 feet away from the fire with your fire extinguisher. That's a full size fire. No, it's not one of those little ones that you
In the apartment.
in your apartment on the counter.
Yeah, if it's a small one, and then they don't last but a few seconds. So really, yeah, the main thing is just stay safe and get the heck out when you get. Yeah.
It's just what I was thinking. If somebody is blind and they can't see the fire, and they have this little fire extinguisher and they're standing 10 feet away and it only goes up.
Well, here's the thing too. Even if you are somebody who's blind with no vision at all, like myself, you know where that fire is at because you can hear, you can feel the heat. So for some part, you don't have to. Especially if it's a small fire in your kitchen. If it's a small one. Now, if it's a big one, no, I'm getting away.
Well, this is Ed, George. I'm just saying, if you don't know how far that fire extinguisher is going to throw, like you should know how far it's going to throw. So it gives you an idea. If you're blind, it doesn't. Absolutely. You can feel the fire, but you don't know if the fire extinguisher is heavy.
But they don't seconds. So really, a few more seconds to get yourself out. Really,
yeah.
You know, and your life is better than take some.
Right. That's why I encourage everybody. That's why it's encouraging to learn how to use them.
Exactly.
I know that you probably don't think everyone's going to ever break out, but just have that skill, have it in place, know how to use it. You know, I would say, I would like to challenge everybody within the next month. If you got a fire extinguisher in your house or apartment, go someplace and learn how to use it.
I'm going to teach my grandson that. He's 12 years old, and I think he's old enough to know for a small kitchen fire or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good practice to learn how to use it.
Absolutely. Just in case.
Just in case. Better be prepared than sorry.
This is Ed.
Go ahead, Ed.
Another suggestion I would like to make is when you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, try and stay away from anything that's flammable.
Absolutely.
Like if you love French fries, get one of those air cookers, or put them on a cookie sheet and put them in the oven. Avoid using fat on top of your stove. Or potatoes and water.
How about this, Ed? Don't wear long sleeves or sleeves that are dangerous.
Oh yeah, maybe like wear those.
For sure.
Don't do that. That's not good for cooking anyway.
Yeah. You want to stay safe.
Want to stay safe. Absolutely. All right. Anybody else got any last comments or suggestions? Or
thank you to Mr. Harding and Mr. Harding for invaluable.
Yes.
Invaluable input.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess the other guy had.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had another firefighter who was going to come on here, but I think he's on call. He must have got a call. Haven't joined in. I never even saw his number pop up, but that's okay.
This is Ned.
Go ahead, Ned. I'm sorry, Ned.
Are they still on the line? You were going to ask about a car fire.
Oh, yes. If they can hear me, Ursula, ask them, do they have any advice about car fires or escaping if you're inside of a car and a car catching fire?
Okay. Yes, they're here. Did y'all hear them, Mr. and Mrs. Harden?
Any recommendations for a car fire?
For escaping a car fire, besides getting the hell out? I'll call 911. I didn't know if there was like a technique or something you do first if you happen to know your car on fire. Break the window, hopefully just definitely get out of the seatbelt and just get out and run. Then call 911. Don't call 911 while you're sitting in the car fire. Get out first, then call 911.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
You always want to and battery or anything like that.
Disconnecting the batteries and stuff like that is things you can do, but if that's small, but if it's a going fire, you don't want to have nothing to do with it. And, you know, like a brakes or something overheat or stuff start fire.
Right. Yeah, if you notice big smoke coming from your engine, no, just pull over and get out.
Yep.
Yeah. Save your life first. You can get another car. May not be easy, but you cannot get another life that easy.
Right.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it. And like I say, too, the other night I went into a place. I didn't feel easy in it because I didn't see where the other exit was. But that's one thing that Bob and I always do is we always look for two exits. And one other thing about the exits in the build, everybody tends to, they tell you this, they will go for the exit that they came in. So like in a theater, you come in, pay your ticket, you come in and you walk down the aisle. Everybody is going to try to go out, or a restaurant, they're going to try to go out the door that they came in. So have yourself a second exit that you can think about when going out.
Yes, ma'am.
With all the others.
Yes, ma'am. Great point. Good point.
Hey, George, it's Shree.
Go ahead, Shree.
Sorry, I came in late. I don't know if this was already mentioned, but I would also recommend, you guys all set up your emergency SOS on your phone. So that way, when something does happen, and if you do call emergency, your loved ones will also know where you are when you call.
Right. We did not mention that, Shree. Thanks for bringing that point. You're right.
Excellent point.
There's a way you can hold your phone down there. It immediately would trigger the SOS. Not only would it call 911, but you're right. It sends out notifications to folks you have on your list for if an emergency. I know I actually have done it by accident on my phone, just trying to power my phone down when I trying to restart it, and I accidentally hit the emergency thing. And then I noticed when I turn my phone back on, not only does it keep track of where you're going, because folks know exactly where I'm at all times, because I forgot to cancel the emergency alert. And I remember my daughter told me, she said, I know exactly where you've been at all throughout the day, so turn that off.
This is Pete, George.
Yes, go ahead.
While we're on that subject, I would also suggest that if your phone is nearby, grab it. Take it with you. Don't go out of your way. Don't put yourself in danger. Don't go towards the fire or farther away from an exit. But if you have your phone nearby, put it in your pocket and take it outside with you if you're leaving the house or an office or someplace where you're going to be outdoors and away from your phone. Take it with you because it might be a good source of connection.
Absolutely.
To loved one.
Good point.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Pete.
absolutely. Bob and I are elderly and in our 80s actually, and
wow.
So I've been told that I cannot go do certain things. Our son, he reads off all these new rules. Oh, you can't do that, Mom, no more. I thought, okay. And one of the things is keep the phone on me. So if I go outside and I fall or what have you, so. But that's from another firefighter he's a firefighter. So there's no way I can get into trouble.
George,
surrounded by
absolutely.
George is Shree.
Go ahead, Shree.
Also, when you evacuate, also have a plan of where you're going to meet, like a central location that you would come and meet. You probably mentioned that.
Yeah, we did.
I worked in FEMA when I graduated from college, and I learned the best way to beat a disaster is be prepared for the disaster.
Absolutely. But one of my main messages tonight's street is tell everybody to have something prepared so you don't panic. Because if you have a plan in place, that would keep you from panicking. It would trigger your subconscious that, you go into that protective mode, things going to kick in, and that will help you. That's all about being able to be safe and surviving.
Yeah.
Have a plan in place.
And not only plan, but you got to practice that plan.
Practice that plan.
And it's got to be something that, for us who are visually impaired, you have to kind of know it by heart. Like, it's going to be, because you're going to be stressed. Now, we've done like stress disaster, and the more you practice it, the less it becomes a stress when the event actually occurs. And so practice.
Everybody's input has been so awesome. I hope and pray that, God's will, we don't ever have to use any of it.
Yeah.
But it's good to know it just in case,
Absolutely.
Just be prepared. Safety first.
Yeah,
You're all right on that one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And having that, letting the rest of the family, we got some that are out of state, letting them know that this is where you're going to be so that they know, how to get hold of them.
Right.
Other parts of the family members. So, yeah.
And one thing, and George, this is Sri again. One thing I have near my window is a reflective vest.
Okay.
I put on. So I have we live in a 3-story house, so we have a 3-story step ladder that you can put through a window. And there's a reflective vest by it too, just so
That's great. That is a great idea.
Yeah,
that is a great idea. These are great, guys. You guys giving us some good tips tonight. Thank you.
I wanted to ask George real quick. I know that Michael had mentioned about all the different things that are in the lineup, and could you just re-emphasize that if they were to get on like the virtual movies or the Buzz Night or any of those other activities that are going on, that they can go on this same link, correct? To participate, it's the same link that they got on today, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I've been having this same Zoom meeting room and link for as long as I know. Like I said, at least 15 years. I don't know the actual amount of years, but everything that iBug puts together is always on the same meeting room, same link. So yeah, all the different activities. If you go to their website, ibugtoday.com or .org, they have a calendar of all of their scheduled meetings throughout the week, and they have something just about every day. I don't know when iBug goes to sleep.
iBug today. I'll send it to you, Debbie.
Yeah, IBUGTODAY, and it's .com or .org.
Okay.
And then where you can see all of the calendars and the time schedules and all that. They invite anyone to chime in to the different meetings and invite them back.
Oh, okay.
Hey, George, it's Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I was just going to remind everybody what's coming up here this coming week. Starting tomorrow night, we've got the virtual movie. We're showing The Brutalist.
That's what was up for the Oscar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up for one of the Best Picture awards, and so that's about a 3.5 hour movie. A little bit less.
Lots of popcorn.
We're taking that. Saturday night, we've got iBug Unplugged. We're going to be talking about how to reduce stress and to relax using meditation, specifically TM, Transcendental Meditation. And Monday is our regular iBug Buzz. That's our open Q&A help session. That's at 7 p.m. I guess I forgot to mention Unplugged is also 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Central.
7 p.m. Central, yes. And the movie tomorrow night is at 7:15 is our social time. The movie will start at 8. And then afterwards we have trivia and discussion about the movie. So that's what we got coming up over the next few days. So welcome everybody to join us for any and all of those.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Good
The next
night.
is iBugs Life is going to be on March the 27th. We do this every fourth Thursday. The topic to be determined, to be announced. So stay tuned.
Good job, George. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, guys. Back.
Tthank you, Mr. and Mrs. Harding.
Thank you, George.
Thank you,
George?
Mr. and Mrs. Harding.
Thank